In today's video, we're going to be comparing two weaponized supercars, the Grotti Vigilante versus the brand new unreleased Declasse Scramjet, which I'm assuming will be released within the next couple of weeks, maybe months. So these vehicles share a lot of similarities. They're both supercars, they're both weaponized, they both have boost-like features. We're going to be talking about that today, and I'll be letting you know which one, in my opinion, is better. So let's start with our barrier to entry for both of these vehicles, and that is going to be price. So the price of the Grotti Vigilante is $3,750,000. It doesn't have a trade price or anything like that. It's just $3,750,000. Now, our Scramjet is a little bit different. The Scramjet has a buy it now or an immediate price, and it also has a trade price. So the immediate price for this vehicle is $4,628,000, and the trade price is $3,480,000. So if you were to take away the trade price and just use the immediate price, the Scramjet is more expensive than the Vigilante. However, if you acquire the trade price, the Scramjet will be slightly less expensive than the Vigilante. Now, it's important to note that the trade price for this vehicle is unlocked by winning the Hunting Pack Remix adversary mode. Now, since that adversary mode is not available in the game, I don't know how hard or difficult that is. I would assume it's like most other adversary modes, though. If you play it enough, I'm sure you will eventually win it. So getting that trade price will not be hard at all. Now, the first test I wanted to run with this vehicle was a general speed test without using the boosting ability of the cars themselves, because at the end of the day, they are supercars. So I wanted to see how fast they were. And so we did a quick drag test comparing the Vigilante and the Scramjet. And due to its size and weight, the Scramjet is significantly quicker than the Vigilante. You guys know how heavy the Vigilante is. It takes a long time to get off the line. So the Scramjet is much faster than the Vigilante without using its boosting ability. Now, what about using its boosting ability? Now, this is where we found some very interesting comparisons. So we did the exact same test this time. However, we were using the boost immediately and then as quickly as we could and as quickly as it would regenerate. So our immediate test noted that the Scramjet was able to jump off the line much faster than the Vigilante. And in general, the car is just a little bit quicker. So I jumped off the line much faster. However, the big difference between the Vigilante and the Scramjet is its boost regeneration time. The Scramjet's boost regeneration is significantly longer than that of the Vigilante, which means because the Vigilante was able to use its boost more so than me, even if it was for a shorter period of time, it was able to gather enough speed to beat me in that drag race. And we also ran that test one more time, and I tried to show you guys what it looked like from the back. I jumped out to a pretty significant lead, but as you can see, the Vigilante was able to use its second boost before I was able to use my second boost. And once that happens, it's game, set, match. You're not going to be able to catch up with a vehicle like that. So needless to say, the Vigilante is a little bit slower off the get-go, but because it can use its boost more frequently, it has a significant advantage in terms of generating speed. Now, let's talk about the next part of these vehicles. They are both weaponized, and they are exactly the same in terms of their weaponized ability. The Vigilante starts by default with standard machine guns, so does the Scramjet. The Vigilante can get missile upgrades, so can the Scramjet. So it functions the exact same way. Both of these vehicles are going to have machine gun default options, and you'll eventually be able to upgrade them to change them to missiles, which I feel like a lot of people is going to be using. Now, the main difference between the Scramjet and the Vigilante is that the Scramjet has both of its weapons available at the same time. You can go from missiles to machine guns without having to change. Whereas with the Vigilante, you have to change between missiles or the machine guns, and that requires going back to the Mobile Operations Center. Speaking of the Mobile Operations Center, that's where the Vigilante is upgraded. However, the Scramjet can be upgraded just about anywhere. It can be upgraded in your office garage, it can be upgraded in your Mobile Operations Center, or at the Los Santos Custom Shop. Rockstar made it much more easier to customize this vehicle than the Vigilante. Now, in case you guys are curious what sort of missiles the Scramjet actually fires, it's the same one that can be found in the Deluxo, just like the Vigilante. Now, let's talk about some other differences to these vehicles. Really, the only difference is liveries. So both of them have no body modifications. You can change things like paint jobs, neon underglow, just like you can do on the Vigilante. However, the big difference with the Scramjet is you can change the liveries and you can change the wheels. You can't change the rims on the Vigilante. They're sort of those Batmobile stock ones. And the Scramjet has a bunch of amazing liveries, which I've showed you guys in the past. A lot of them are really awesome. In fact, some of them are pop culture references to this vehicle, which, in case you guys don't know, this is based off of the Mach 5 from the show Speed Racer. Just like the Vigilante is the Batmobile. So they both are pop culture vehicles. That's another thing that they actually share in common. They're both from various TV shows and movies and whatnot, which is super cool. Another big difference with the Vigilante and the Scramjet is its stopping power. The Vigilante is one of the most powerful vehicles in the game in terms of pushing other vehicles out of the way, which is incredibly impressive. That makes the Vigilante one of the best vehicles in the game because it can just ram through traffic really without being stopped. The same cannot be said with the Scramjet. The Scramjet is more of a normal car that has just been turned into something that's weaponized and has boosters on the back. So if it hits another car, it's going to react like a normal vehicle. It's not going to work all that well. So that's a big plus right there to the Vigilante. The next is its overall design. Because the Scramjet is completely topless, which is cool, you also have way less protection. Now, none of these vehicles are bullet resistant or explosive resistant. They both blow up with 1 RPG. However, the Vigilante is going to give you a ton more protection to oncoming fire, because it, of course, is covered in the design and the shape of the windows. This, you're completely exposed to the world. So getting shot and blown up is much easier in the Scramjet than it is in the Vigilante. Something to think about as well. Now, the one feature that the Scramjet has that the Vigilante does not, that is its jumping ability. Now, in order to compare the Scramjet's jumping ability, we couldn't really compare that to the Vigilante. We actually had to bring out the Ruiner 2000. Because the Ruiner 2000 is the only other vehicle that has that jumping-like ability. And in a one-to-one comparison with the Ruiner 2000, the Scramjet jumps a whole lot higher, which is kind of cool. So I'm not sure how useful you'll find something like this, the ability to jump higher than most. You might actually find it very useful in terms of jumping over traffic, getting onto bridges from underpasses. Who knows? You might find a ton of cool features. And if this is something you enjoy, the Scramjet is now the best jumping vehicle in the game. It just took that crown from the Ruiner 2000. Now, the final thing I want to talk about in terms of comparison of the Scramjet and the Vigilante, since these are the two main vehicles we're looking at today, the Vigilante it almost feels lighter in the air, which is very awkward to say because the Vigilante is much heavier. But when you use the jumping feature of the Scramjet and then the booster on the back as well, the vehicle wants to come back down to earth, whereas the Vigilante almost has no problem flying around in the air. So that's the one difference that I notice is the Vigilante almost seems a little bit lighter in the air, whereas the Scramjet feels really heavy in the air, like a rock, like you really can't move it. So that is just something to note. That's one of the things I kind of noticed when I was testing out this vehicle and figuring out which one would fly a little bit better in the air. So now let me give you guys my overall comparison, which one I think is better. I really think at the end of the day, the Vigilante is still better. Without the trade price, it's cheaper. I feel like it's the better option in terms of speed. Its weapons suffer a little bit just because you can't swap between the missiles and the machine guns. But honestly, who uses the machine guns anyways? So I really just think that's a wash. I think in terms of protecting you, it's a little bit better. Both of them aren't great, the Vigilante especially, but it is a wash in terms of they both get blown up by one rocket and they don't have bulletproof windows or anything like that. Really, the only thing the Scramjet does better than the Vigilante is it's faster without its boost, but it has boost, so why would you not use it? And it has the ability to jump. But honestly, at the end of the day, that jumping really can't do you all that much. And the liveries are nice, but a lot of other cars have liveries too. So this isn't something that's exclusively unique to the Scramjet. So overall, I think the Vigilante is still the better vehicle. It's pretty pricey. I mean, to spend over $4 million on a car that's not really better than its main competitor is definitely something interesting to think about. But I'd love to leave that discussion up to you guys in the comments down below. That right there is the Vigilante versus the Scramjet. It's pretty crazy to see the difference in their prices and what they're able to do in the world too. But let me know your thoughts, opinions, and more in the comments down below. Which one of these do you think is better? I'd love to hear from you guys down there. If you did go on to enjoy this video, though, a like rating would, of course, be awesome. And also, subscribe to my YouTube channel if you are new or you like daily GTA 5 videos like this. With all the way, guys, like I said, thanks so much for watching. Take care, and I'll see you guys in the next video.